The GSF-31R Durante-class diplomatic barge is the flagship of the Peione Aerospace lineup. Manufactured to ferry its single passenger in luxury and comfort, the Durante guarantees that when you arrive at your destination, you will do so in style. Making no pretense at utility or seat-of-your-pants performance, the Durante was built as a jump-capable transport platform for the Sagittaire shuttle. Powered by a single KSH large reactor and a bank of 36 batteries mated to an array of ion thrusters, its maximum forward acceleration is 2.3 meters per second squared, reaching its governed top speed of 100 meters per second, or 223 miles per hour, in just under 45 seconds, and coming to a complete stop in 1 minute and 5 seconds. Simply put, the Durante does not accelerate, it proceeds. Aesthetically, the Durante is a step away from earlier designs in the Peione stable. The ribbing of the subframe has been embellished instead of concealed, breaking up the ship's long silhouette and drawing attention away from the seams around the ship's main feature, its large central hangar and the machinery powering its airtight gate. The elongated thruster nacelles blend into a rear cowling which contains 2 secondary launch bays, more on these later. In the front, the largest section of the ship houses the reactor cargo hold and hangar mechanism. The ship's bow ends with a flattened anterior surface to house the cameras for the LiDAR system and the sole connector for refueling. While stylistically consistent with earlier Peione craft, it seems a bit out of place here. The hangar deck is quite spacious, measuring 22 meters wide by 14 meters tall, though the blast door and outer gates restrict the size of passable vessels to 10 by 10. There is sufficient space to land the shuttle within a pressurized area, but only just. Maneuvering into the hangar without clipping any surfaces was a mild challenge, taking a bit longer than we would have cared for. The blast door which seals off the pressurized area seals perfectly and moves with satisfyingly mechanical solidity. However, when the seals are broken, the bow of the Durante tends to pull hard to compensate for gyroscopic force, moving in some cases as much as 10 meters. This can prove problematic in close formations, and in testing the Durante in a fleet situation we only narrowly avoided a collision with our quarter-main frigate due to this. As stated earlier, in addition to the primary hangar there are 2 smaller bays, one at the rear of the lower deck for housing small to medium-sized utility craft, and one aft of the emergency exit off the bridge, just large enough for a single small fighter craft. This latter bay, however, is an incredibly tight fit even for Peione's own F-11B Mongoose interceptor, included in the demonstration package we reviewed, requiring precise maneuvers and a skilled pilot to dock and undock. The fighter's presence is welcomed, but we couldn't help wondering how many precious seconds might be wasted in an emergency combat situation merely attempting to get out of the garage. The Durante's 3 internal levels, the hangar deck, observation platform, and bridge, are connected via a pair of elevators which integrate nicely into the overall design aesthetic, but in addition to being quite small face the same issues with which most such systems contend. They engage smoothly and solidly but tend to bind a bit between levels even when the ship is stationary. Even with extensive use we never encountered any actual mechanical failures with them, but this binding does occasionally produce sounds which we found somewhat disconcerting. The bridge is small but comfortably appointed and loaded with instrumentation, with variable range LiDAR mapping, detailed readouts giving information on oxygen supplies and power distribution, navigation and full ship diagnostics courtesy of computer systems by M-Master, Intelligent, Philips, Scleros, and JT-85. We found however that the LiDAR array was unreliable, at times not recognizing any signatures at all within its 9-kilometer range. The upper instrument cluster is retractable, revealing a windowed platform which offers a commanding view of the prow of the vessel. The platform itself, however, is accessible only via jetpack, a minor inconvenience, but one that is difficult to overlook given the Durante's pedigree and price tag. Projected on screens throughout the Durante is the face of James, the ship's computer and co-pilot. James, whose name comes from his designation, G4M3S, or Generation 4 Model 3 Sentient, is entertaining and amiable, a welcome companion during long voyages. The Model 3's personality matrix, however, remains largely unaltered from the Model 2, which was used in fighter craft. This leaves James aggressively eager for combat, a trait unbefitting the co-pilot of an unarmed diplomatic vessel, and simultaneously straining at the limits of the Durante's performance and awkward with handling its bulk. Overall, the Durante diplomatic barge is an extremely spacious and luxurious vessel for its class. But with a base price of just over 3.2 billion credits, it lacks a bit of the polish that we would have expected from such a reputable coach builder. A single jump drive and disappointing ion propulsion mean that it never goes anywhere in a hurry, and while the shuttle is capable of landing on and taking off from planets, the Durante's inability to do so negates some of its refined yet vulgar materialistic appeal. Our testing crew gave it a score of 7.2 out of a possible 10 points, rating it as comparable to other luxury craft in its class and price range, but lagging a bit behind the standards we had come to expect of the Peione brand.